Hello, hello. And before I show finished shots of the bed, I thought I would share a quick setup video. All right, so this is how this dude will go together. So you'd start by putting the headboard close in position and against the wall. Bring in the first pedestal, they're marked left and right. And the headboard and the footboard will get attached to these pedestals with a series of knobs. And of course I would loosely put those into place before tightening them all. Pretty standard. Bring the right pedestal or the other pedestal, put it in place. And then this is a support for the mattress platforms, and it'll go either way, end to end. It's also a spacer. And then the mattress platforms, there's a left and right. They're also marked. Those slip into place, and they position with cleats underneath. The footboard slips in place. It'll self-center, of course, attach knobs. Might have to rock components a bit to make everything line up. Awesome. All that's left to do is add the drawers and the doors, and the drawers are all marked for position. And in hindsight, it might be easier to put the drawers in place, the drawer boxes in place, prior to putting the bed platforms in place, because that way you can see the back of the drawers where the drawer guides engage with the drawer box. Minor differences. And then snap the doors in place, and that is it. This was such a fantastic project. So at this point, I remembered to turn the lights on. Anyway, all of this lumber came from Irion lumber, and all the lumber came from the same tree, which was just a dream to work with. And since I made a matching dresser and nightstands, I had a few 100 feet of figured cherry veneer, and all that came from Sauer's veneer. It was really beautiful stuff. Of course, I had to stitch a lot of the grain together because to get the width, but all of the grain is indexed and matched. Just a pleasure when you have that much veneer to work with. Building furniture is such a huge pleasure for me. I get a great sense of accomplishment. And I absolutely love when I get the opportunity to create a secret stash, especially when I can utilize magnets. So I wanted this middle component to look like an ordinary panel, but in fact it is a door. It pivots smoothly on sauce hinges, and I'll have a separate video on that. All right, so let me zoom in a little bit here to show you some details on this hidden key, disguised as a rail, or stile, I should say. All right, listen. That is literally a gap of 4/1000ths, or the thickness of a piece of paper or tape, so that the key would be able to be replaced and removed easily. I inlaid a piece of ebony, a little dot that'll designate the top of the key. And I used a piece of felt just to prevent any scratching of the finish. Didn't really want to do that because it hid the beautiful hidden magnets. You can't tell how they're in there, but someone would assume that they're under the felt. I made the simple latch with a piece of aluminum, a bronze bushing, and of course a strong barrel neodymium magnet. Getting the size of this key was kind of tricky because as I knew I would be adding a finish, it would, grow the ends by a few mils. And so my goal was to offset the magnets so that the key, when it was in place, would actually travel down and the small gap would be up at the top. So as I mentioned earlier, I utilized 3 sauce hinges. I believe they were the number 104. And I intentionally made those tight so that the door would spring open once the latch was released. Now, something worth noting, the magnet I used was axially magnetized rather than diametric. In other words, the opposing poles are on the ends rather than on the sides. This creates the latch to move in and out rather than just to rotate. And here's a shot of the mating bushing that the latch on the door edge engages into. And one more glorious shot of that key falling into place. Such a satisfying click. Lots of storage with undermount, soft close drawer guides with my signature handle. The dark grain at the bottom is actually Wenge veneer, and I use that to mimic the area below the dresser and nightstands. Well, I certainly hope you enjoyed this video as much as I loved making these pieces. Remember to share, like, and subscribe. Thanks a ton for watching.